A few months ago, I made a video about virtual production doing at home, where I had a TV screen behind me as a backdrop. In the video, I recreated a scene from Guardian of the Galaxy, and it turned out pretty well. And then I received a lot of comments where people said, why didn't I use a green screen? Where I could have just keyed out the green and used that as a background, and then you can move the background to simulate a camera movement. That's fine. This time, I used a green screen.
9 seconds. That's what I'll give you to decide.
I'll be recreating a scene from the trailer of The Equalizer 3, which is a really good film, by the way, you should watch it. And this time, there'll be camera movements and, like I said, the green screen, as well as more sophisticated lighting. So essentially, I've made it really difficult for myself, but why not? So to recreate this scene, I don't have the location they had on the movie set, which I think it was a real location. So first, let me show you how the green screen, the lighting, the camera, everything was set up. From this shot here, we can see there's a strong white beam of light coming from above and behind the characters. For this light, I'm using the Godox M300 Bi. It needs to be high enough above the green screen. Then it was time to set up the green screen, which needs to be just below the light, allowing the beam to hit my head when I sit down in front of the green screen. To light the green screen, I used the Godox FS200 Bi. Initially, I wanted to light by placing the light on the chair. That didn't work. In the end, the best place was to put the light on the floor in front of the green screen. For the props, there's a bottle of wine and wine glass. I don't have a wine glass, nor do I have a barrel for them to be put on, so this is the best I can do. For the first shot, we see the camera slides backwards, so I place my Rhino slider in front of the chair. Camera is a Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro. There's a Pro Mist filter here because his head is definitely glowing. For the second wide shot, I'm using the 18mm Zeiss CP3. And for the sliding back close-up shot, I'm using the 35mm Zeiss CP3. To light the face, we can see there's a light coming from below, so I used the Godox tube light on the floor here. Time to put that jacket on to match Mr. Washington's. I've set the slider to move back and forth so that when I play the other character with a gun, it will match up the shot. For the white shot here, I had to play all three different characters, and because the camera is fixed and doesn't move, I was hoping that I can stitch them up in post. The final shot is this watch shot. You might think it's easy, but actually it took me a very long time to get the right angle and with the right lighting. Okay, now everything's shot and it's time to edit. But that's where there were some major problems that made me almost give up. Let's talk about the background first, which is the image I need to replace the green screen. First, I tried Midjourney's AI to generate the image, and I wasn't happy with any of the results. Then I realized that I could cheat by putting it into Photoshop and use generative AI and generate the areas that's been cut out. For those of you who are not familiar with the generative AI from Photoshop, you basically select the area you want to generate, and for this instance is all the bits where the characters are. We want to see what's behind them. So let's go ahead, click generate, and it doesn't like this. It basically means something rude or violent. I think it's this dead person here. Okay, so I'm going to quickly use a brush to get rid of him. And on a second attempt, it worked. It's obviously never going to match it exact from the original, but I think this one's good enough. Next, I'm using DaVinci Resolve to key out the green area. Oh, by the way, I've already given this a basic grading, but later we're going into more detail about grading it better to match the background. Okay, let's go to Effects Library and type in 3D. You want to select the 3D layer, drop onto the node, and then just draw anywhere on the green screen and you should get the transparency straight away. Now, I've already aligned the backdrop underneath the shot of me in the timeline. That's where you can see the transparency. Now you can see beyond the green screen is my living room. So what we want to do is go to the power window section and select the curve tool and draw around the section you want to concentrate on, and anything beyond that will be extended to the whole backdrop. And over on the right here, you want to adjust this section to make sure the green keying is perfect, so there's no jagged edges or blurred areas. So I'm just quickly going over this section and making sure that it looks as good as possible so that it blends with the background. And I think this blends quite well for now. For the color grading, looking at this, I think my one needs a bit more saturation and contrast. Okay, let's increase that and then get the contrast and give a little bit light on the face. Okay, yeah, this looks good now. Now what I need to do is just adjust myself in the right starting position like the original. So we start from zoomed in, and then as the slider goes back, it zooms out, and in the finished position, I want to get it to a similar position where he is, about there. And then let's get the starting position again. That's right, yeah. and then what we need to do is we need to fix where the background is gonna be as well. So let's move the background drop to a similar position where he is. That's where the finished position is. And then after that, I need to key in so the background zooms out so it looks like it's parallaxing. Alright, let's compare the two. This looks realistic. Let's quickly look his. Yeah, I think the lighting on my face isn't quite right. You see on he's got a dark shade by his left side. So I'm using this gradient tool to get that shade from the left side a bit darker. I don't want to be too much, it needs to be just subtle. So I'm going to move into right area. Maybe lift up a little bit or too much. Just subtly there, you know, this slightly shade of dark on the left. Yeah, I think yeah, this is good enough. Next is to animate this reveal from black. So what I do is I put two solid black clips on top of my original clip, and I'm quickly gonna speed up to show you how I just animate using keyframe to kind of split open from black to wide open wide. You see these dust particles? I need them. The website I use for things like this is Motion Array. So I'll go to motion graphics and then type in dust particles, and this one looks good enough. Add that on top the other clips and then go select composite for screen. Next is the gun. It's a little bit easier, so all I have to do is copy and paste the effects I did with myself and then adjust the color grading a little bit, and then using the keyframe to change the position and make sure that it looks smooth while the camera zooms back. And then everything is kind of repeated with the white shot here. I place myself in the right position, do the color grading, do the keying, make sure the lighting matches with the background, and eventually it looks kind of okay. Now here's where the problem comes. The other characters. Now the original shot was probably not done right. I should have moved the green screen to the right and then it would have covered me more, so there's more room for me to key out the green screen, but that still leaves a head problem because it doesn't go all the way up to my head. I tried my best to use depth map to rotoscope kind of automatically, and it just wasn't working because also the gun was too shiny, and in the end I was gonna give up. I just didn't want to do this anymore. I can't just have a half working shot with just me sitting there all along with no other characters. And then it came to me. I cheated again, yes. I used the original shot and then blend the two together to make it into one shot from my wide shot, so that there's me and the original characters from the trailer. And the final thing to do was the watch, which was quite easy to do. I just had to rotate and zoomed in a little bit, a bit color grading, and that was done. Now, let's look at the final result.
9 seconds. That's what I'll give you to decide your fate.
As you can see, that was a really long process for just an 8-second clip. But I enjoyed the challenge. It was my first time to do a sophisticated green screen with VFX. So let me know in the comments what you'd like me to create next. And please go easy on me. Keep exploring, keep filming. Till next time.